Hello everyone, this is Katerina and I'll bring you the energy update with Saturn moving into Aries on the 24th, and on the 26th of May there's a new moon in Gemini, and the guide said collective shifts are on the horizon. And I'm so sorry about my voice, it's a cold and also another round of kundalini awakenings that clear your entire system. And that brings me to the first point, because many of us are now through that heightened intensity of the solar codes, the high absorption of them in Gaia herself, in our grid system. So many are now awakening, and that awakening also leads to the opening of the pineal gland. And then there's a stage where the pineal gland is releasing a liquid. It's called amrita, and that liquid is literally restructuring your entire third eye, the liquid in the spine, and it leads to intense kundalini awakenings. And I'm had several of these rounds throughout various, or quite a number of years, but now I'm in the midst of a really high one. And you know, I mentioned in the last video this inner Buddha awareness, where it's like, oh my God, I'm home. You know, my higher self has now landed in my heart. It's, you know, that process of higher frequencies becoming more and more attuned with our body. And with that pineal gland awakening, it not only leads to more psychic abilities, becoming more multidimensional, operating in the quantum field, it also leads to a rewiring of your brain and an increase of light in your cellular structure. So, and in that, more light leads to more clearing. You know, and that's the fun part being human, you know. So that my voice is darker, that's down to this extensive and extreme rewiring that I'm undergoing. So not only did my car shift, I'm shifting myself as well. And in the collective, I got a question from one of you asking, Katerina, I've heard so much about the 3 days of darkness. Can you comment on that? And with more light, more clearing coming, and there's this huge desire in the collective to say, we want to grow, we want to accelerate. We have collectively chosen a benevolent timeline for all to thrive, you know, where fairness, equality, justice, a balance of finances, of wealth distribution is chosen, where we have chosen to heal the earth, clear plastics pollution. So with that, different choices are available to get there collectively. And may that be a local collective, like a community, may that be a country, an area, or may this be a vast amount, or like a continent. And Gaia herself, like we are clearing our body, Gaia is also clearing vast amounts of density from the past. And you can see I'm concentrating when I'm holding all these energetic streams. And with that, each collective can choose, how do we choose to get there? You know, because each collective has also specific karmas, specific cultures, specific prophecies and conditionings, where it's like, okay, based on all of that, what is our ascension pathway? And we had that in Spain and Italy. It was definitely Spain and France, where there were power outages. And the higher dimensional outcome is we come together in community. We know we can work together. We find new ways of collaboration and also decentralizing of those systems. So when I was tuning into that question and I was scanning around, it's like the guides were saying each collective is given choices in how to move through the density and how to create community and connection, you know. And I'm from East Germany, and in East Germany, you know, in a country where all were under vast amounts of surveillance and limited possibilities and freedom, we always had that saying, one hand washes the other. And that means we are helping one another. You know, we are here for each other, whatever needs to be done. And that is now also increasing in the collective. And so 3 days of darkness can be a choice. It doesn't need to be. And she said, so do you think I should have something at home? And I said, well, speaking from somebody like me, when I have vast experiences multidimensionally, I can have difficulty going shopping because I'm so overwhelmed with all the information, all the input. I get so much data coming in. It's like, oh my God, my energy gets frazzled until it's settled and stabilized, and then I'm fine. So I per se have more food for myself, for the kitties, kid litter, everything. And I remember in Sweden 2011 in the community I was in, we were all like, oh my God, you know, there are these comets and that's a prophecy and 3 days of darkness. So I had hidden food and everything, but at that time it was so much more loaded with fear. And then the guides shared so clearly, you know, like with me, now I have additional food at home just because I never quite know when I'm capable of food shopping. And if you have a very light-hearted way of looking at it, you know, I just have a little bit of extra tin food, some bottles of water at home, just to make sure. And when you see those items in your cupboards and stuff, not like, oh my God, 3 days of darkness, I better hang in there. If you feel neutral about it, it's like, hey, it's sensible preparation, you know, and I may go on a camping trip and I'm going to use it there, God knows how, you know, there are many options. And if it's with this neutral emotion, then they recommend it. But if it's really fearful, they said really clear those fear programs first before buying those items, because otherwise you anchor that fear of what is the future going to bring with those actions. And then another way, which we can globally and also in a community, you know, so instead of learning through challenges and, oh my God, and adversity and nature things taking place in order to cleanse that and bring the global community closer together, is also when we unite in meditations, where it's like, you know what, let's come together for a visioning or inspiring and bringing high vibration in and distributing it with all the grid works available now worldwide. And that can be overall, you know, like we do next Sunday on the 1st of June, the vision of the new earth, where you're stepping into your new soul codes that are overlighted by the golden Lemurian light beings. They are in tune with who you are at your core. And there are specific soul codes that are now on a bigger scale ready to be released to step into your inner Buddha presence, in your sovereignty. And that also ties in with Saturn in Aries, where it's like self-responsibility, the pioneer, the exploration. It's like, oh, how do we navigate this into we take care of that grassroots movement? And with that, it is, I mean, these experiences now more and more, when I'm so deeply in that energy of divine love, in that quantum fear, just in a moment's notice, and it's like, wow, what can I create from here? And it's so blissful. And in that state, all fears, it's not only they fall away, that would be they're here and then they're gone. It's like they're non-existent. And it's in this moment, and they increase, thankfully, you know, so hence more clearing is happening, as you can tell. And with that, it's really that experience. It's like, it's going to be an amazing ride. And more from that place of the explorer and the curiosity. I was standing in the sun preparing for the video, and it was 8:33 in the recording, and that feeling of, I wonder what a unique ascension pathway each collective is going to create. You know, we have such diversity of communities, collectives, past backgrounds, not only karmic patterns, but also specific skill sets that are anchored in certain areas on Earth. And it's like, oh my God. And, you know, I was tuning into that future that we're bringing in with every time we're positive, you know, no matter for how long. And it can be washing your dishes, a robin is flying by, or a butterfly, and you smile and you just feel blissful in that moment. That already is overriding density. And with that, we are bringing that future, that positive communication, co-creation more and more in. And with so many more people that have chosen the much higher, brighter ascension timelines, you know, from those 5 available, most of us are now in the 2nd, and then we are the ones creating in the 1st that's now rippling down to outer version. And it's like, you know, the brighter, the shinier, the happier we do this, the more amazing and quicker it's going to be in gentle ways. And then I asked my guides, because clearing some of the things in my heart chakra, where I work globally on the most despairing situations. And I'm like, I don't know how to let it go. And they're like, Katerina, you haven't realized. And I said, what? And they said, every action of love and kindness is clearing any trauma and density you have experienced in your life. And it's literally loving kindness, positive actions for yourself and for others that are selfless, that are really from, oh my God, I see you need help, I'm here, without, and what's in it for me? You know, without, oh, I help you to help me, you know. So my instinct is actually wanting me to feel better. If that's the impact, it's null and void. But if it really comes out of, you know, wells out of your heart, out of love and joy and empathy, the sun is shining, I want to help my neighbor, whatever that may be. Those actions transmute any and all darkness. I do need a sip to drink, I'm sorry. And it's apparently still clearing my throat chakra. And the guide said, this is something I should also mention. And because some of you are really concerned, it's like, Katerina, when you do the light language, your neck really cracks. And it's now 11:11. And you can hear now, while I'm talking, I'm quiet, you know. But when I do the light language and the channeling, then the density that I'm working through is literally like crystallizing in my body. And with those movements, I break that down. And afterwards, I sound normal again. So it's not like somebody said, Katerina, I think you need to see a chiropractor. And it's like, no, that's only happen during light language or when I do healings. That's when it crystallizes. And the guide's assuring me, the higher the light I'm stepping in, I've transmuted those pathways. I will also have new ways of bringing that in, so you won't need to be disturbed with that anymore. And so, and then there was another question with those diversity of timelines. So will I see other people in other dimensions? Because many of you are not only shifting timelines where it's like, whoa, from struggle and density and adversity to a much smoother path, or where you feel like, oh my God, my heart feels so much more open. I can feel so much more love and joy, compassion, and equally sadness. You know, we increase our bandwidth both in capacities in what we can hold and are ready for, as well as in what we are feeling. And sometimes I like, whoa, shit, I'm really clearing. I'm watching some reels, and that really hit me in my heart more than it used to. And I thought, this is how I was as a child. Ooh, you know, and then we are learning techniques again with those loving actions and kindness. And best thing to do is play with my kitties. They zoom around the house, they snuggle into me, and then that's dispersed it right away. And with that, we shift timelines and dimensions. And with that diversity, the guides also said, because people ask me, so am I in 3D and 5D and 7D and 9D? I'm at the moment establishing my energy field in 9D. And that means my body is already resonating full on in 7D. So every time you spike into higher dimensions, it's literally your consciousness expands and goes into higher dimensional frequencies. And with that, it brings higher codes and it's rewriting your body. And then once the body is rewritten in all cells predominantly into, say, 7D, then your spikes go into 9D, you bring that in, the rewriting process is taking place, the clearing is taking place very obviously, and then you bring in higher dimensional consciousness. But for me, I'm always like, you know, there are so many different traditions, and what is each dimension? What is it representing? The guide said to me, it's 9D, and I can feel the different stages that I've been going through from my very first Kundalini awakenings in probably 2011 to what's happening now, and continuously with spikes in between. And at the same time, we are also, because I was like, but I don't feel like 9D. When I'm in this Buddha energy, and like, dimensions don't even matter. Why would I ever even need that measurement? You know, it's bliss, it's love. We are all divine. There's love on every dimension. And it's sometimes only a marker for orientation. And I thought, but if I connect with you guides, you know, there's just love and bliss. And they said for all of us, it's so important to remember we are on a planet where we have the whole range, not just available surrounding us. You know, you can walk anywhere. And depending on what's the overall energy in your area, you're in 5D, or you could drive somewhere where it's like, whoa, really dense and dark here. Or I walked past somebody, again, more aware, more open than normal, and or previously is my new normal. And it's like, oh my God, that person lives in such a different reality. And I could see the whole energy field, and the person looking around was in a whole other level and frequency and dimension than I was, and we're standing right next to each other. And then when I was at the hairdresser on Wednesday, you know, my hairdresser went through a really deep shift and transformation, and she was glowing and shiny, because that's the result once you're coming out of that intense clearing, more of your soul light is radiating through, so you're gonna be more shining on the other side. That's the bonus part about it, as well as the increased skills, Ashta is saying. And I could feel that radiance and shine. And when you're in that energy, everything flows, you can get things arranged. Even if challenging things are happening, it's like I take that in my stride, you know. And with that diversity of energy, it's a whole other experience when you tune in. You are in a dimension on a planet or frequency range where everybody is so high vibrational, and you don't have that lower density around you. And it's like, oh wow, I would feel completely different, you know, because here we also need that buffering energetic awareness, staying in my zone, radiating where it's meant to, you know. So we are real becoming energetic masters of how do I navigate all these dimensions being simultaneously present. And let's see what light language is coming forth. And if my neck is cracking now, you know why. We're clearing through other layers, and you can hold your hand over your heart chakra, and I dedicate this for the highest and greatest good of all. Iwashkiti si ashkata sasa nanamaha. We greet you, dear ones. We are from the Galactic Council, and we wish to connect with you once again. Really stay in your heart and keep heart in this momentum. And we are fully aware, if you look in your outer world, in your media and social media, the upheaval aspect of this time, of this transition, is often highlighted and pronounced, versus this person channeling is having the intention to highlight the positive aspects and elements of this. Because when you highlight that in your heart and in your awareness, it is like either choosing to be in deep winter or being in winter and looking for the first signs of spring, where you feel like, where are the snowdrops? And I know the crocuses are coming, and I know all will soon be in bloom, and your energy gets excited about every snowdrop as a sign of, oh my God, the power of winter is broken. We are stepping into spring. And every time you pull in further light and joy and positivity into your heart, you bring your personal spring much closer, which is also giving those around you, when you are in that spring mode, the opportunity to feel like then winter isn't eternal. There's already signs of this. If she can break through, so can I. If he can break through, so can I. And then this snowballing effect, like Katerina experienced at the hairdresser, where the positive energies were bouncing around in the shop, and we were all laughing and talking with each other, and all of us were starting to glow because we bounced love and positivity of each other. And we in the higher dimensions can sense that. And when two or more are standing together in that positivity, we can step amongst you and radiate our light. And so do your guides, your angels, your ascended masters, the galactic team, your body elementals, the elements of earth. And all of a sudden, in your field, and even if it's for an hour or two, everything has been risen. And there's a body memory, there's a cellular memory, there's a mental and emotional memory, which you can go back to. And even just talking about it, Katerina gets really excited of feeling that again. And these are ways where you feel like, I can see what is going on in the outer world, and I can see that is mantling. This is the power of winter breaking, and I focus on the early signs of spring. That is your inner choice. And we welcome you as well for the visioning of the new earth, where you are together. Where you are together with others, spring chickens, where you can enjoy each other and the radiance that you co-create, and sharing your dreams and visions, inspiring each other, lifting each other, sharing in the Q&A your ideas, your questions, your ways of dealing with it. And that in itself radiates out into the universe, inspires yourself, and also leaves traces in your home, in your community, and your surroundings. And with this, we wish to continue with one more round of light codes. Yakiti si ashkata sanamaha miwi 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 ki ikata sasa nanamaha miashkata sa na maha miashkata sa na maha. And some amongst us here are multidimensional weavers, weaving the light codes in your light body across time and space together into one aligned, harmonious flow. So your energy is more centered, more coming together as one, streamlining and making it much easier from that concentrated power of love, joy, and bliss to elevate and bring your timelines into singularity. And then you operate in the quantum field as one strong beaming pillar of light. Iwashkiti si ashkata sasana namaha. Iwashkiti si ashkata sana maha. Miwi kiti si I kata sasa nanamaha. Si I kia kata sasa nanamaha. Aka, 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 aka. Blessed be, so mote it be, and so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And the guides just said, blessed may it be. So bliss and blessings to you all. And I wish you a delightful weekend and can't wait to see you next Sunday for the New Earth Visioning. Namaste.